Hey, everybody.
Let me formally introduce you. You've been a great participant at StocktonCon over this many years. This is, I think, going back to around 2013, and you've been at many of the shows. I think you've missed only a couple over that whole time.
There's a lot of weddings in the middle.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that you've also, did one of our iconic pieces that we still have to this day, which was the cover of a My Little Pony, a variant cover, which features Stockton Arena.
Yeah, with Pinkie Pie, who we're drawing today.
Pinkie Pie, yeah. So I am going to turn it over to you, Tony, and you are an amazing artist.
And ask questions.
And yeah, what we'll do is if people have questions, they'll post them in the comments, and I will bring them to you. All
right, sounds good. I'll be here drawing. You just want me to talk to these people about what I'm doing?
Sure.
All right, sounds good. Hello, Stockton and the world. I'm Tony Fleecs. I draw My Little Pony comic books. And today we're going to talk about how to draw a pony. I'm going to show you by drawing Pinkie Pie. We're going to draw a sketch of her, and we're going to take it all the way through a finished drawing, and then we're going to color it. We're going to do the whole thing. So hopefully we can do that in the 29 minutes we got here. I think we can do it because she's not too tough to draw. So I start out every drawing of a pony or a person or anything really with basic shapes. And the ponies are generally just circles and tubes when you break everything down. And they got a lot of like almond shapes in them, I guess. I'll show you those as we keep going here. Here's an almond shape. Her ear, but her hair is just sort of like circles or curves. And then they got tubes and everything else in the legs and the body and all over the place. So as you can see, I'm just sort of sketching away. I'm not being too clean, but I've done this a bunch of times, so I sort of know where all the parts are. But when you're doing your sketching, you're just sort of making messy lines and figuring out where everything's going to go. And it doesn't matter how messy they are because you're just basically drawing a map to yourself for what's going to be the path you're going to take to this finished drawing. So see, all my lines are scratchy and crazy looking, but I know that when it comes time to do the final, I got a pretty smooth hand. So as long as I have the plan in place, I can go through and execute when I've got the rest of it figured out. So I've done a little more detail than I usually do here before getting it all planned out, but I start with a circle, and then if you watch, I sort of do these swoops and curves to figure out where everything else goes. So from her eyeball, you do sort of a swoop and curve out, and that starts to plan where her nose is going to be, and then you swoop and curve that back in to about the same line. Not quite all the way in on the eyeball line, but to about the same place as where you started off from. And then you swoop and curve down and out again to sort of give her that Pinkie Pie smile that she has. And you connect it with lines, still a little curvy, but not so swoopy and curvy. But everything is bent in ponies. Like it's all, there's no straight lines. It's all has a little bit of life to it. So we'll get as far as the head right here. She's got a little tongue. Her nostril, I usually draw a line from the point of her nose to about there, just to sort of place where it would go. And then, of course, ponies all have eyelashes. I always draw the top ones when I do the comics. Sometimes I do the bottom ones too, but they tend to sometimes be a little too much information for the panels. On the cartoon, if you zoom out a long ways, the eyelashes sort of get real tiny. But on the comic book page, they just sort of like, the smaller you get, the more they sort of look like little spider's feet. So I oftentimes will just leave them out. And usually they don't yell at me about that. So hopefully nobody yells at me today. All right, so I got this head. Generally, if I was just drawing a head sketch, that's where I would stop. But since we're going to do the whole pony, I want to make a little more room here. And shut down my Slack. My studio mates are really going wild. But, I'm going to adjust this eye a little bit because it's slightly out of place. This is, I generally draw all my layouts digitally, which I found is really the way to go for me, because you can make all the sort of small adjustments you want to make before you get to the final stage, which is inking. A lot of times now I'll do my inks digitally too, just because we're in quarantine and I don't have my big drawing table that I usually like to draw on. But I still do traditional inks for like covers and stuff like that. I have a little desktop drawing desk, basically. It's like a portable drawing board that you can just sort of set up, and it's like a little tiny drawing table. So I'm sort of doing that until we can get back into a studio space. Okay. So Pinkie Pie is an earth pony. That means she doesn't have horns or wings or anything like that. Beach ball, that's no good. What that means is she's just got legs and a tail, and then you can move on and do the rest of it. So the body on the ponies is always like sort of a little kidney bean. And as you can see, like, her head is almost the same size as her body. I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger, but you know, like a human person, their head, there's like 4 of them are the length of the torso. The 3 of them, I don't know. I don't usually draw human people, but a pony, it's almost the same size. So draw your little kidney bean, and then, like just like we did before, all the lines are sort of swoops. And we're putting our tubes in here. All the legs on these ponies are just sort of like curved tubes, like macaronis almost. I always like to kick up a leg because it makes it a little more grounded and a little more balanced. You can sort of feel like the pony has a little bit of life. And then their back legs, the simple version of it when they're just standing still, is you take the butt, haunch or whatever, and you kick it out a little bit and draw it back like that. I think I've still got it a little bit too long right now, so I'm going to pull it in a smidge. So it might be too skinny. There we go. And then I throw the back leg in. You can sort of map out where it would go just by drawing through. Like I said, this is a sketch, so you're just making a map for yourself of what the final thing looks like. Back leg in perspective, back a little ways. I have gotten notes before that I give these ponies too flat a butt, so I always try and make sure that they got a round behind, like a horse. And as you can see, I'm just sort of like tightening up the anatomy I'm doing as I go along, sort of figuring out what my plan's gonna be. I think I could even shrink that all down just a smidge. With ponies, like if you go too big a head with too small a body, they almost look like chibis. So you don't want to do that unless that's what you're doing, you know. I'm always constantly adjusting, which is, I'm sure, a real thrill to watch. All right, so then her tail, Pinkie Pie's got this big, crazy hair. Her tail is similarly crazy. Bouncy. So we put a lot of lumps and bumps in it, and curly cues. There's sort of a method to the madness. You want it to look like a curve that keeps up, but even at some points, it breaks its own rules. So the rule I always sort of fall back on is like, is it cute looking? And if it is cute looking, then we're okay. So that's sort of what I live my life by on these pony drawings. Sometimes if you do something slightly wrong, it's not cute looking, you know, like if I have her eye and it's just not in the right place, you know, then all of a sudden it's sort of less cute looking. So you just want to use your planning, your sketching stage to get everything in the right place. And we're just about done with the sketching stage, so that's good. That means I think we're doing okay time-wise. We're about 10 minutes into this. We got a sketch. Now we'll do the soft hands Fulton part where you gotta really use a smooth arm and ink things. Although if you're using a program like on your iPad, like Procreate or something, or even I think some Photoshops have like a smoothing feature, so you might not even have to have a smooth hand. I do, but that's just from years and years of practice. I know you're yelling right now that I forgot our cutie mark. I generally do those in color, but just so we know where it's going to go, let's pop this guy in. It'll look nicer when we're finished. Okay, so I always draw in blue when I'm doing my sketching for no real reason besides that's what animators used to do when I'd watch Disney VHS tapes. You could do it in green or red or whatever. You could do it in black or gray. Doesn't really matter. But when I go through and do the inks, I do that in black, also for no real reason. Because the final form of these ponies is that they have colored lines, but it slows me down too much to try and figure out which line is which color as I'm drawing. So I always go through and ink the whole thing first, and then when I'm coloring it, I color the lines. That's probably counterintuitive, but I'm an old person, and I got to do things the way I do things. So if you think you could go faster by just coloring the lines the right color in the first place, by all means. So as you can see, we made a new layer, and we're just going over top, trying to do all these lines in sort of one stroke at a segment. That way, instead of the scratchy line that's underneath, we got a smooth line. And it's smoother if you're pulling the line. You know, like if you're, say I'm left-handed, so I'm going at this one from right to left. If you're pulling, it goes smoother. But sometimes I find myself even pushing up, you know, and as you can see, it's not as smooth. So you want to try and be pulling as much as you can, but it's also a pain in the butt to rotate your canvas in Photoshop, so I just deal with it. I draw a lot in Procreate when I'm doing my actual inks, like when I'm working on books or whatever. And that one, it's very easy to rotate your canvas around or zoom in or whatever, so I get some of my smoother lines working in that. But as you can see, these ones are pretty smooth too. So, like I said, years and years of drawing these ponies has left me with a steady hand. And I don't have like any one of these degenerative, jittery issues. So far, so smooth. I say that as I get to this one point where it's not as smooth. It's like the universe is trying to tell me something, not to be so proud. Show some humility. So the more you can do these lines in one stroke, the better it'll be smoothness wise. As you can see, like if you can't do it in one, best bet is just to get a running start at it again and then make it connect. So like, say I couldn't finish that line, you just want to start a little further up in it again, get a running start, and catch up. See, I'm pulling down here instead of pushing. Sort of let gravity work with you as you're inking. That is if your tablet or your screen or your page or whatever is at a vertical angle. That mine always is. I'm always drawing at a vertical, like as if I was an old tiny painter drawing at an easel. If I have to draw flat on the table, it feels very bizarre to me at this point. But I have friends that could still do that just fine, like kitchen table stuff. So it can be done. If that's all you got to work with, don't let it be a hindrance to you. You can definitely draw flat on your kitchen table. But eventually, you might, for the sake of your back and neck, want to work your way up to drawing at a vertical situation. StocktonCon's own Ramon Villalobos draws at a drawing board all the time, so he's always drawn vertical, even though he doesn't draw at a desk. It can be done. So we're almost done with the inks on the body here. I try to do the outline first because I'm keeping my brush about the same size for all the outline lines. The ponies have like a pretty solid same line weight holding line when I draw them. And I can do tricks like make the line thicker if the pony's in the foreground, or make it thinner if the pony's in the background, that type of thing. But generally, if I'm doing two ponies that are standing in the same plane, they'll have the same line weights. Face you have to be a little more delicate with, just because it's the part that will look the most wrong if it's got some line out of whack. As you can see, a lot of times I'll draw a line and it won't be perfect, so I'll quick undo it, which I think slows me down. Like when I don't have that option, when I'm making traditionally, I can sort of jam through pages or pieces a lot faster. When I have the option to make something perfect, I'll tend to try and make it perfect. For instance, here, this line's a little bit wonky, so I'm just going to sort of shave it down a little bit. Why? I don't know. Like I said when we were sketching, the eyelashes, I like to do the top ones always. Sometimes I do the bottom ones, but as you can see here, bottom ones in this format might be a little wonky. So I'm just going to do the top ones. I'm sorry for all you eyelash purists. I apologize. Mea culpa. When I do the eyelashes, I start at the tip because my brush settings are set with like a pressure sensitivity, so I can start at the tip where it's pointy and then press down as I go on and sort of thicken them out at the base so that they look like they're growing out like blades of glass, blades of grass. Blades of glass? Oops. In the cartoon, they don't do that little line on her nose, but I tend to because it sort of helps me with coloring and figuring out the 3D space of it all. And there's a lot of stuff we have to do in the comics, doing angles and shots that they don't generally do in the cartoon. So a lot of time we're sort of figuring out what the pony looks like. Say they always show them at like a 3/4 view. What do they look like if they're like 20 degrees further turned around? You know, like what's that angle? We have to draw that all the time because the shot will say like, oh, they're coming in through the door, and the door is, you know, up against this wall. You know, a lot of times when you're laying out a comic, you sort of back yourself into a corner where you're like, I want to do this angle, but I've never seen the pony drawn this way before, so how's this going to look? And so then you have to sort of figure out what the ponies look like from that angle. But it's not usually a problem for us because we've done it so much that it's like thinking about the ponies in 3D is part of what we're already doing. All right, so we've got a couple of hairlines in here. And then on to colors. This is going pretty good because I'm spending about 10 minutes on each part. Can I do the colors in 10 minutes? Let's see. All right, so I draw these ponies with a, she's got kind of a square forehead. Let's see if we can shut that down a smidge. I draw these ponies with a brush and I color them with a pencil, at least for the base colors, because you don't want to have any anti-aliasing. This is some real complicated color talk, but I'll show you what that means. So when you use a pencil, you see how it has like jaggedy, stair-stepped edges? When you use a brush, it doesn't. It has like little bits of gray filling in those steps. When you're coloring, you want there to not be any bits of gray. Like, you only want the colors that you're putting down to be the colors. So when I'm coloring Pinkie Pie, I only want pink in there. I don't want little sort of off pink or gray pink or whatever. I just want the one color that I want, so that later, if I have to go back and select it for shading, it'll select all the pink that I put down. If I go to select Pinkie Pie's body with the magic wand tool or whatever, I don't want it to be leaving out little corners or areas like that. So I always use the pencil. And also that when, I'll show you real quick, when you use the paint bucket to fill with the brush tool, it'll leave a little edge like that because it has that little area that's not just pure pink. It doesn't know what to do with those little bits. But when you use the pencil, because it's just regular pink and nothing else, it fills all the way. So that's why we do that. When I'm doing the comics or the covers or whatever, I usually outsource this part of the job to my friend Lauren, who's a flatter. And a flatter in comics or in illustration, I guess, is somebody who takes the line art and colors it in like a coloring book. Not necessarily with the final colors, but just breaks all the shapes up into different colors so that when I get to it, I don't have to do this part where I'm tracing the lines and stuff. I can just jump right into putting the colors and the shading and all that stuff on. And that's sort of like one of the hidden jobs in comics that a lot of people don't know about. Sometimes they don't even get credited. And I try to credit my flatter whenever possible because I like people to know about that job. So if you're somebody that's like wanting to make comics or wanting to color comics or whatever, I like people to know that like that's a thing that's out there. It does not pay great, at least not at the beginning or at the end, really. I don't think it ever really pays great. It's not like a full-time job, I don't think, although maybe some people can do it. But it's a good way to sort of get your start and get familiar with the tools and stuff. So yeah.
Hey, Tony, as we kind of start wrapping things up, we have brought into this room a good friend of yours, Drew Johnson.
Hey,
Tony.
Drew's right.
How's it going, man?
Drew Johnson, king of podcasts lately. He's just showing up everywhere.
Yeah, I'm prolific.
Yeah, you got a lot to say. How you been?
All right, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. What are you gonna draw?
I got a Supergirl. Put it on a recording so I can just move through it and speed it up or slow it down depending on how detail and sane I got in certain spots.
Oh, so you already drew it?
Yeah, it's all done. I literally just finished it.
I cannot wait to watch.
Cool. Well, hopefully it all works well.
I mean,
you guys taking much questions?
I haven't taken a single one, Drew. I assume there are thousands of people watching, but I'm just so good at explaining.
Oh, nice.
That's exactly what somebody said. They said you did a great job of explaining. I do have one question, Tony, like, because obviously our first panelist was Lee Kosei, and he did everything on paper. How much stuff do you do on paper nowadays?
I do probably like 10% of it on paper. I like it. I will draw covers digitally when I am doing the sketch, and then I will print those out and do the final part on paper just because I like having my hands on it, like the control of it. But even lately when I've been doing interior pages, I've been doing those digital, mostly just because we had to shut down our studio because of COVID. So I don't have like a good drawing table to draw on anymore. So I just sit and work on my iPad.
What'd you do with your drawing table? Did you put it in storage?
Yeah, it's in Dennis's garage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we just don't have room for it here at the house.
Oh, I feel you. We just broke mine apart and threw it away.
That thing was a beast.
I know. It weighed like 5,000 pounds.
Did you take it home first, or did you just throw it away there at the studio?
No, we took it home, and then we ordered an extra large pickup thing for it, and we had the shelf I took home we decided to get rid of, and a couple of other things. And it was funny, you know, the weird metal pickup guy that drives around your neighborhood?
Yeah, know him well.
Yeah, that dude showed up in our neighborhood and took the metal part of my drawing table.
Like you could smell it.
Yeah, it was
Maybe
weird. I've never
something
seen him
hot
before.
tip.
Yeah, I've never seen him before in our neighborhood, and he showed up out of nowhere.
Tony, Marion is asking on our chat, is this on Illustrator or Photoshop?
This is Photoshop. Photoshop's like the easiest program to sort of wrap your head. I mean, it goes very deep, but as far as like the basics, I've found it to be like the easiest program to wrap your head around on the Adobe suite. I think the easiest program, period, is Procreate on iPad. It's so simple.
That's what I did my Supergirl on.
Oh, sweet. So you got that recording from that?
Yeah.
I love it.
Dude, my daughter, Cole showed me how to do the recording. She really set me up.
I showed her how to do the recording.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, damn. It's all circular, man.
Yeah, man. you gotta keep it down. All right, we got 3 more minutes. I don't know if we're gonna get the color in the lines, but I will definitely get this hair colored so that we can have a finished Pinkie Pie for the StocktonCon, the Legion.
Well, I'll shut up so you can get it done.
Oh, you know I can talk and draw, Drew. How you been otherwise? How's Karen?
Oh, she's really good, man. She's just working on The Simpsons. They just did that Marge piece the other day that they put out on the internet.
What's up?
Yeah, she did all the blinks and some fixes on it for them right before they sent it out the night before.
It's crazy how fast they put that together.
Yeah, they really busted it out, and she was up late the night before getting it finished up. But yeah, they got it right out, and boom goes the dynamite. So,
Yeah, man.
yeah, how's you still working on Rick and Morty?
Yeah, I'm trying to get a page or 2 inked out today. I got to do a second draft on that secret thing.
Oh, okay.
Script. So yeah, I'm doing working on all kinds of different stuff throughout the day. And then weekdays, I'm working on Muppet Babies with Moreno.
Nice. How's that going?
It's great. It's uniquely. It's like I'm uniquely suited for it from being in comics so long. They're just like, can you design a jetpack? And I'm like, yes, I can.
Doing it on the fly.
Yeah.
Is the Muppet Babies a comic as well?
No, it's the Disney XD TV show. It's like
nice.
a CG Muppet Baby show.
Yeah, you can get it on Disney Plus as well. That's where we've been seeing it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm working on the 3rd season of that. Chris Moreno, our other studio mate, has been the art director on it since the beginning. And he pulled me in right as pandemic was starting. So that was very lucky. All right, Drew, I'm about ready to hand it over. Let me put these balloons on here.
Just under the wire, Tony. Nice job.
Sweet.
Keep things suspense. 1, 2, 3. That's a Pinkie Pie, everybody.
Thank you
That's how
so
you do
much,
it.
Tony.
Awesome.
Yeah, man, happy to be here. Let me sign my name just so it doesn't get stolen by some other StocktonCon live stream artist.
That was my plan, actually. I really don't have anything. I'm just going to do this.
Yeah, just he's been recording this the whole time.
There you go, everybody. Pinkie Pie, thanks for having me. Hope to see you in person next year, or as soon as there's a vaccine for this thing. That's when I'll be leaving my house. I miss you guys. Thanks for
Awesome.
having me on.
Thanks, Tony. It was really great having you on here, and we really appreciate it. And we'll see you soon, man.
Yep, take care.
Take care, bud.